is Rachel, and today we're talking goals. So first off, let's take a quick glance back at 2020 and see how those goals went. So I feel like it's pretty safe to say that everybody's goals were very much affected by the trash fire that was 2020, right? So, I mean, the moral of the story is, like, I didn't do great, didn't make many of my goals, but I am not going to be down on myself because I made progress in a crazy year, and that's all that matters. But let's take a little gander at some of these goals. So my first goal was to post a video every week. Now, typically I post on Wednesdays, but for this challenge, I counted as long as it was posted sometime that week. It counted. And this is the first year I've successfully ever met this goal. And I am amazed that it happened in 2020, but it took a lot of effort. I will say I'm not like super pumped about every single video I made because some of them were literally just me throwing together what I could in the moment. I did what I had to get by this year, right? So while every video wasn't just a gem, I did successfully make a video every single week, and I'm really proud of myself for that. It was hard to stick to, but I did it, and in a tough year nonetheless, so yay. Go girl. Next up, I wanted to use my bookcase as my background more often, and again, the goal wasn't necessarily to do it every single video, but to make more of an effort and at least to consider like what the background looked like. And as you can tell, that's gone a little by the wayside towards the end of the year. One, because I am just over it at this point in the year, but also because I put my Christmas tree up early this year, and my Christmas tree is humongous, so I kind of have to move my furniture around to do it, and it isn't as easy to film now with the Christmas tree up. So hopefully once the Christmas tree's down, we will be back downstairs in front of the bookcase. But overall, I think I did pretty well. I think most like traditional videos are in front of my bookcase, and I'm pretty happy with that. So I think I did okay. Next up was enjoying reading. I think this was kind of a weird goal. It was hard to rate this throughout the year. But I will say that typically it seems like people who read generally, like for their hobby, had a really hard time reading in 2020 for some reason. So I'm not going to be down on myself that I didn't totally enjoy reading. I also do tend to make it harder on myself sometimes because of my job. I feel like I need to read a lot of things that I might not necessarily pick up otherwise, so that I at least have them in reference for recommendations, buying purposes, etc. So I do tend to kind of force myself into things sometimes that create a situation where I won't enjoy reading. I do find that often. Overall though, I think I did okay, especially considering 2020. So I'm gonna give myself like a 65-70% on this. I think I did alright. For the Read Harder Challenge, if you're not aware, Book Riot puts out a Read Harder Challenge every year. I will link 2020 and 2021's down below. I definitely think you should check them out. My goal for the last several years has been to read a book to meet each of the 24 challenges, and I'm beginning to realize that I think that's just unrealistic for me. I don't think that that's necessarily the point for me. The point is that the Read Harder Challenge is supposed to make you more aware of how widely you're reading, and if you're reading books who aren't getting necessarily those like top-notch promotional spots, if you're digging a little bit deeper. And I found this year that several of the books I read just naturally fit into those categories, which makes me happier than necessarily trying to pick one for each one. Now, do I do that? Yes, because I am kind of a type A person, and I like to plan out lists and whatnot. But I don't think that reading a book for every single challenge is completely necessary. While that's always kind of the goal, I think the more important goal is to make sure you're reading a little bit more widely and maybe digging a little deeper for books that might not get all the promotion that some of the other books get. So I read 10 out of the 24, giving me about a 40% on this challenge, which I'm not mad at. I do think I'm going to make a little bit more specific goal next year around this, but I think overall, I did okay. I did all right. Next up, I wanted to read 100 books this year, and I only made it to 58 currently. Now, there is some time left in 2020. I do anticipate at least getting to 60 books. And again, normally I would be very down on myself for this, but 2020, man, like the fact that I got 60 books read at all is very impressive because I went for easily months at a time where I didn't even pick up a book. So the fact that I got 60 done is pretty impressive. I did have spells where I did enjoy reading, and I had spells where I didn't, that I would come home and I would watch television. And I learned quickly that I needed to be okay with that, because I just wasn't in the mindset to push myself to read. Sometimes this year, I was just emotionally and mentally exhausted. So I needed that just kind of brainless, mindless entertainment of watching television and not having to read. So, like I said, I'm going to be probably 60% to this goal, which is not amazing, but I'm okay with that this year. Another goal was book club. I wanted to read all the books for book club. Now I have 2 book clubs, one of which kind of had to dissolve due to COVID. So that kind of took it out of the running almost immediately, because everything here in the US shut down in March, like mid-March. So we only had about 2 meetings before it kind of had to get axed. So that one went by the wayside. The other club went virtual, and we kind of changed the formatting a little. So I did manage to read all the books for that club. So, I mean, I guess I did okay. I don't know how to really rank that at this point. And then my last goal was to chill out, which, I mean, having gone months at a time where I didn't read anything, yeah, I guess I did chill out. But I'm already finding myself, like, piling up all the challenges and everything that I want to do. I just get so excited about books and lists and challenges that I can't really pick which ones I want to make priorities. So I try to do them all, and then it just doesn't work. So, I mean, I need to keep that in mind, but already I feel like looking ahead at 2021, I am already joining so many challenges and things. So this is always going to be a struggle for me, always. So overall, I think I did okay. I did add a couple of extra goals, I think, over the summer, but that all went out the window when I went back to school, because it has just been insane this fall. So we're just going to pretend those didn't even happen. But overall, I'm okay with what I managed to accomplish in 2020. As I said, I think you've got to really lower the bar this year, because this was a tough year, to say the least. So I think the important thing is that, you know, I just kept trying. So even if my numbers are a little low and it's not really where I wanted to be at the end of the year, I made progress, I got things done, and yeah, I'm going to call all of that a success. So let's go ahead and look at 2021. We have a nice, fresh new year coming, which is always a little scary and really fun in the best sort of way. I love this time of the year of like planning new things and starting new challenges and setting new goals and having just a fresh slate. Although we're still kind of in a lot of the chaos of 2020, hopefully things will end on a much calmer note at the end of 2021. So hopefully these goals won't feel like just mountains that I have to climb this year. So I have 5 goals in total. Let's run through these goals. So the first one is to read 120 books. You may be asking, girl, why are you doubling what you read this year as your goal? Well, let me tell you. Typically, I always set it at 100. So I was already going to set it at 100, and I've already been participating over in Instagram in these seasonal challenges for a big part of this year. Not successfully, mind you, but just participating, where I try to read 30 books every season. So that worked out to be 120 books for the year. So I decided just to go ahead and make that my goal. Do I think I'm going to make it? No. But is it a nice goal to aim for? Sure. So I thought, we'll go ahead and try, because, you know, what are goals anyway at this point? But that works out to be 30 books exactly each season. So roughly like 10 books a month. So I really would like to do that. I don't think that's going to be necessarily doable, but you know, it's a lofty goal that I'm going to try to reach. But again, I think I'm going into all of these goals with a 2020 mindset of, you know, this is where I'm trying to get to, and if I make it, you know, if I make some progress, then I'm going to be happy. So I'm not dead set on 120. I'm not going to like start crying if I don't make it to 120. So I'm comfortable setting that goal, even though I don't really feel confident that I'm going to make it. Next up is to read 24 books for my current TBR. So I have tons of books on my shelf that I have not read, and the problem I found is that I buy a book and I'm super excited to read it, and then I don't get to it, and then I don't get to it, and then it gets pushed to the back, and then like years later I end up selling it back at half price books because I'm no longer interested in it. And I want to try to curtail that as much as I can, because it just feels so sad that I'm so excited when I get them and then they don't get read, and then years later I'm just not even excited about them anymore. So I set myself a fairly reasonable goal of 24 books total in the year for my TBR, which works out to about 6 per season. And if you can't tell already, I'm going to do kind of like a seasonal tracker this year. I'm really going to kind of set things around a full season of what I'm doing. So I have everything for the full year goal versus the seasonal goal. So again, my to be read pile, I want to read 24 books that I already own for the year, which works out to about 6 each season. Similarly with 2021 releases, I feel like this time every year it hits me so hard that I just really lacked in reading new releases. Every time they put out lists of like the best books, I feel like I just haven't read any of them. Especially like when it comes to the Goodreads Choice Awards, I always feel like just so sad that I haven't read so many of the books on the list. I've heard of a lot of them, but I haven't read them. So I really want to make 2021 releases a big priority this year. So I'm going to read 24, at least that's my goal, to read 24 books published in 2021 this year. Again, working out to about 6 each season. I also am going to be participating in the 2021 Read Harder Reading Challenge, but instead of trying to complete the whole reading challenge this year, I'm going to aim for 50%. I want to read 12 books for at least 12 of the challenges. So essentially, I'm aiming for about half of the challenges this year, and that works out to 3 each season or 1 a month. So every month, I'm going to pick a challenge and read a book for it. And again, I would highly suggest you try these. I think they're amazing. They always make me think more about what I'm reading and what I pick up, what I gravitate towards, especially compared to what is really publicized and selected for various reading clubs throughout the year. It makes me a little bit more aware of those things, so I will link it down below. I highly suggest you at least try a few of them. The Book Riot website always has links to their recommendations as well to help you if you can't think of books that would fit each challenge. So again, I'm going to try to read 12, 1 each month, or 3 for the season. And then my last goal is just to have less books on my TBR at the end of 2021. So I'm thinking this year I might do kind of a big unhauling of some of those books I mentioned earlier that I bought like a couple years ago or more, and I'm just no longer like super interested in reading. I'm ready just to let go of them to make room for books that I am more excited about. And I'm finding that I don't have enough space for the books that I've read now, that my TBR is taking up so much room. So I'm hoping to kind of switch that around and make a little bit more room for the books that I have read. But yeah, basically just to be less. I'm hoping it's quite a bit less, but even if it's just 1 book less, I'm going to be okay with that. So I'll be tracking that and updating that as we go along. And like I said, I've really planned this out to be more seasonal. So I'm hoping to give you seasonal check-ins. So basically every quarter, I'm hoping to do a pretty thorough wrap-up where I'm letting you know how I'm doing on my goals and how I'm doing on my progress, etc., etc. So yes, I'm super, super excited for 2021. Let me know down below some of your goals for 2021 and how you did meeting your 2020 goals. And yeah, let's talk goals and books down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again in another video soon. Bye for now.